Good day and welcome to the next module on solar PV installation. In this module we're going to be looking at the basic components of solar PV installation modules, one of which is the solar panel, the battery. Now the solar panel is a device that converts solar energy to electrical energy. Now the battery is an electrochemical device that stores energy. One of the components is the charge controller. The charge controller is a device that is meant to regulate the amount of charge that's stored in the battery. The charge controller is connected to the solar panel, and in order to reduce the amount of voltage that is passing through to the battery. Now the battery serves as an energy storage device for this voltage that comes from the panel, and then is then distributed to a load, say a DC bulb. Now this load could be connected to the charge controller via the DC terminal from the charge controller. The terminals are indicated in the charge controller as positive and negative terminals for a DC load. So a DC load could be directly connected to the charge controller, as in the case of this DC bulb. You could directly connect the bulbs to the charge controller, as we discussed in one of our videos earlier, that in an off-grid system we have loads that are DC based and are connected directly to the solar panel as DC. The solar panel generates DC, so you could connect it directly to a DC load. And the only problem is the solar panels could be generating a high voltage than that of the DC bulb. So the need for a charge controller to reduce the current that's coming, or the amount of voltage coming from the panel to the load via the charge controller. The charge controller regulates the amount of voltage that comes from the panel. So if you look at this connection, it is one of the connections that we discussed in our first configuration that of off-grid system, where we said we could connect a DC load to a PV generator, which is the solar panel, directly. So we connected directly to from the panel directly to the DC load. So this is one way to connect solar PVs, to make solar PV installations. You connect your battery, your panel to your charge controller, and from your charge controller directly to your load. The charge controller in this case is not helping to charge the battery, but of course it helps you to regulate the voltage that goes to the load. The battery is connected to the battery terminal, a positive and a negative, and then to a negative terminal. The positive terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and the negative terminal is connected to the negative terminal from the charge controller to the battery. These terminals are indicated on the battery with the positive terminal is indicated with red, and the negative terminal is indicated with a black color. As you can see from the solar panel, is then regulated to the charge controller and stored in the battery. Then it supplies the DC load. The solar panel absorb the energy from sunlight through the charge controller and store in the battery, then discharged through the load. In a situation whereby AC appliances are to be connected to the grid system, such as the fan and our bulbs or socket outlet, these AC-based appliances do not run on DC current. That is, they do not run on the voltage or current that has been generated from our battery. As such, there is going to be a need for a conversion from DC, which has been generated from the battery, to AC, which is going to be needed by the AC appliances. So the fourth component, which is the inverter, is a device that converts DC to AC. It converts direct current to it converts the direct current coming from the charge controller is being connected to the inverter and then supply the AC based appliances. So if you look at the back of behind the inverter, you will then connect the battery to the inverter, the positive and negative terminals connected to the inverter. Then as such, now we can then connect the inverter to the various appliances, AC appliances, through the inverter outlet. So a plug is then connected to the inverter outlet to the to be able, in order to connect the appliances through the switchboard. As you can see, where all the AC appliances will be connected. So all AC appliances will be connected to the switchboard, which will serve as a point of distribution to all other AC appliances, such as the fan and the bulbs, via the switch. The connection for the fan is then connected to the switch of the fan, and if you want to connect the socket outlet to, we connect the socket outlet, yeah, in the switchboard, so that we can connect our other appliances such as our PC, and of course the bulbs are also connected to the switchboard for the supply and controlled by the switch here. And as we all know that the AC has to do with the live and neutral wires. So having connected the live wires to these appliances, there's going to be need for us to connect the neutral wire of the other terminal of the socket of the plug to the various appliances. As you can see, the the neutral is being connected to the fan, and then to the bulbs and to the socket outlet. These are the four major components and the basic connection of the system. Please do not forget to hit the subscription button and stay tuned to my channel for more videos on solar PV installation.